Hey, welcome to No Breakaways, your source of Zwift racing, tricks, and tips. Today is a head-to-head matchup. I'm your host, Ian Mulligan, and with me is Anna Russell. Anna, how are you doing today?
Yeah, pretty good, Ian. On the other side of the world here in New Zealand on a hot, kind of summery day, so I can't complain. It's awesome. Excited to see some racing around New York City, and I think we're in for a pretty good one. I like the course, 2 laps, 23.6 kilometers. It's going to be pretty quick, pretty fast. Some good sprinters out there today as well.
Absolutely. This course is definitely one for the sprinters with some little rises here and there. Of course, the famous Cat Pie Hill, right, Anna?
Yeah, that one to the finish line. It's just kind of horrible, right? I think there's two tactics we'd look at today. One is, do you do a long breakaway and just try and get away with about a kilometer to go? I've seen that work occasionally, but more often than not, it's sort of dropping that feather power up and hitting Cat's Paw Hill with a bit of speed and pushing ahead of your competition. But yeah, like I said, it's a 6-on-6 battle today. ATP Racing, Dutch Diesel as well. We've got some pretty quick ladies out there. This is the C Cat group. And we'll check out some of their bios before we get into the racing. They're about just over 8.5 minutes away from racing. We can see here Natalie Barron from ATP Racing. Oh, what a CV there, right? 2019 Virginia Road Race Champion age group, time trial champion that same year for her age group, and also the BAR winner in her age group. So that's some serious Palmares from Natalie Barron there.
I love seeing all the Palmares from each of these racers. It always just keeps in mind, that as much as we're online racing on Zwift, that a lot of these athletes come from a lot of experience out on the road.
Yeah, I mean, up here now we've got Ashley Cameron. She's been Zwifting since January 2019. That's the same as me, actually. Former first team shortstop. I'm not an American, so I'm not sure what that is. You might have to explain that to me, Ian. A basketball guard, an all-rounder track and field, graphic designer, web developer, and entrepreneur. So quite a varied background there off the bike.
I like it. I would assume the shortstop position is probably the game of softball. Could also be a baseball player, though. You never know.
Okay. And there's Kesha. She's a plastic surgery resident. So a high achiever, future microsurgeon. Wow, mum of two pups, multi-sport dabbler. I always love the triathletes. Have a soft spot in my heart for them. When she has energy. So I'd imagine trying to do surgical residency, you're not going to have much energy left over at the end of the day.
Hopefully not going for the quote-unquote brick today, coming off the run onto the bike.
Oh man, Diana Mora here, mum of two sons. Love the mums as well. Directs congressionally tasked oversight of the Defense Department. There are some serious professional women out racing. 15-month Zwift racing experience, so relatively new to Zwift. So she might be on a sort of lower tiered bike setup. You get the better bikes the more you've been going. So we'll see what she's riding, but already I've got Zwift open on my screen and I see a lot of the disc wheels, so she might not be quite at the level for that yet. Stephanie Pitts here, mum of three. Awesome. Retired ultra runner. One thing I'll say, runners make really good Zwifters. Cat 4 bike racer, winner of Battenkill 2016 Citizens Race. She'll have to fill us in on what that is. 2015 Drops to Hops B race. Has been Zwifting since 2017, long time Zwifter. And more seriously, in 2019 when she joined ATP.
Always love seeing that depth of experience from 2017. I can't imagine what that was like 4 years ago to be on a platform, especially how far the platform has come as far as routes and bikes and equipment. She's pretty much seen it all.
Exactly. Lauren Sanders here. She's won a 5th grade class spelling bee. I don't know how much it's going to help today. We'll see. Voted least likely to grow up. Looks like she's got a bit of a sense of humor, and played softball and ice hockey. Cool, at Slippery Rock University.
Another varied athlete. Love the fun fact.
Yeah. Anna Boeto here. Only started cycling in May 2020 for children's cancer research. That's really cool. Master's degree in applied science. 2 gold medals in open sword and Taiji short weapon. Now, that's not someone you want to mess with. So do you want to take us through the Dutch Diesel races, Ian? That was ATP.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, did we go through on the screen here Samantha from Dutch Diesel, yeah? Is that what we're on now? We just did ATP, correct? Sorry.
Yes,
I was in amazement of just all those accomplishments. Looking at Samantha here, says Zwift makes up 95% of her weekly kilometers. Okay, that's really interesting. Makes and focused on Z racing in 2020 with multiple podium finishes and has been the lead team for 3 years. So Samantha, definitely a lot of Zwift experience, definitely knows the platform of 95% of her weekly kilometers are coming out of this. We have ECAT Harden, love the nickname, shortening it up. A Ironman 70.3 World Championship qualifier. Definitely very impressive, Paul Myers. I don't care who you are, where you are in the world. You see Ironman World Championship qualifier, instant, gratification from, a broadcasting perspective, being like, whoa, this is someone who, dedicates a lot of time to the sport. Long distance triathlete, very new to Zwift or bike only racing, right? We'll see how that plays out. Definitely something that, is okay admitting to because we've all been there before. And then visually and hearing impaired athletes guide. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Love to see the contributions to cycling giving back. Next, we have Sarah here. She joined Dutch Diesel in January of 2021. So new to the Dutch Diesel program, but has been Zwifting since 2020. Obsessed with breakfast burritos. I mean, who's not? They're delicious. Race expert for Women Enduro and SD Trek Girls team member. I have to admit, I'm very impressed by the Enduro background. Not something I would want to do. I would probably crash very, very quickly. Cassandra, stay-at-home mom of 3 boys. Love it, and I love the ink on her. Love that
Yeah.
tattoo. New to cycling and racing, has been Zwifting for 8 months. One day, I hope she hopes she can be as cool as CJ. I think that's an aspiration of every athlete on the Zwift platform, is to be as cool as CJ. That's for sure. Next, we have Daniela here, age 40, rode Alpe to Zwift in 59 minutes. An impressive, impressive time, right? Whether it's on Zwift or out on the road, 59 minutes is a great time, especially out on the road with altitude, taking that into consideration. We see here that she is a bike racer, both out on the road and on Zwift, and love the helmet, skier, and has been Zwifting since November of 2020. At age 15, she rode 2,100 kilometers along the Rocky Mountains, carried tents and packs. How impressive is that, to have hiked along the Rocky Mountains, right? I mean, that's part of the, yeah, one of the triple crowns of American trails, right? The Pacific Coast, the Rockies, and the Appalachians. Very impressive accomplishment at age 15.
Do you want to cut to the power?
Let's go ahead and start looking at some of the power profiles, Anna. What do you think?
Yeah, I think today we're going to be looking at those who have that top bar really long, so that good 15-second sprint. I do just think it might end with a sprint. It's not the kind of course where you could get sort of a breakaway, I don't think. I could be proved wrong. And it's not the sort of Innsbruck climb where you need that really high 20-minute power. And looking at these riders, they've selected their team well. I mean, already jumping out as Rush and Torelli there, really high watts per kg. I mean, Rush there, 11.85 watts per kg. I think definitely the one to watch in that sprint finish.
Yeah, most definitely. Russian Torelli. I mean, this, like you said, not really a course perhaps for a breakaway, but at multiple times throughout this course, I think you may agree that, a good chance to use someone, maybe such as Barretto or Hardin, to try and get away and then counter over the top.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of tactics you can put in place with a team of 6. It'll be interesting to see how they're going to use maybe Hardin, who's got the higher 20-minute power compared to the others, but a lesser sprint. Maybe she'll go off and push ahead on the front and draw a chase out of the ATP team.
Let's go ahead and transition to ATP, speaking of them.
Oh, so looking at this, Sanders, that's another over 10 watts per kg sprinter. So Sanders and Rush, I think, could be a bit of a head-to-head at the end. Then you've got another good 20-minute power there with Mora and Kasha there. Sort of a nice all-rounder. So it would be, I think we do look here at Sanders and Rush for that head-to-head at the end, is my prediction.
Yeah, I like that prediction as well. I also look at a rider such as Cameron and say, whoa, okay, this is someone who looks very well-rounded and is someone to possibly start a breakaway or is someone who can, lead out in an early attack. I would say Cameron, if it's going to come down to Sanders and Rush, that Cameron could be someone who leads her out.
All right, we're going to switch to the race. 10 seconds.
Oh, now looking at this, 10 seconds to go until race start. I always get nervous watching these when I'm not even out there, but always makes me, just get that sort of blood pumping. So, I mean, starts on Zwift, always pretty horrific. What do you think, Ian?
It always is so fast. It's so fast and intimidating that, you go through those first 30, 40 seconds, and you're like, all right, when is this going to slow down? How much longer am I going to have to push? Because there's so much adrenaline carrying you through the first 30 seconds that it almost evaporates. But I think what I really like about the New York courses, and it's not a feature on this race, is that normally you're turning right and you can relax. But immediately here, when we turn left, you can't relax. It starts to pitch up right away.
Okay, and for those watching, ATP is in sort of the grey and white kit, and Dutch Diesel is in the orange and blue kit. So very separate looking kits here. I'm just looking at bike choice. As to what riders have gone with. Got a couple of Trons. We saw a few riders might have been lower level Zwifters, so don't have that Tron, but it looks, yeah, Tron and maybe some Canyon Aero Road there. I see a Cervelo, which was an interesting choice on this course. And most of the riders have gone for sort of a semi-deep dish, maybe a Zip 458 or 454. Some DT Swisses there as well. So that Canyon DT Swiss combo is one of the more aero combos other than the Tron or the disc wheel. So if you're a lower level, probably the right choice for a course like today.
Yeah, I mean, the Tron, removing the Tron from the equation, when you're looking at, I think you mentioned that there was a Cervelo on course. I think the 454s are a good choice, very balanced, especially with a good frame. Trying to find Cameron and Sanders and people who we predicted in the sprint, it'd be interesting to see what they went with from a bike choice.
Would have thought I'd see a few more disc wheels, but then given is it cat's paw kind of hill finish, maybe a bit too heavy. So I wouldn't be surprised to see those better sprinters, so Sanders and Rush, perhaps on the Tron bike, just a better all-rounder, a little bit lighter, but still very, very aero. They've got no friction, obviously, because they don't have chains. They're done purely on a sort of magnetic force, which would be great if that came out in the real world. But everyone's staying pretty nice and tight now. It is a flat portion of the course, this little area here next to the little man-made lake. And then we sort of get in some rollers where it will be hard to keep a rhythm. And that's where I'd expect to see maybe some little digs in lap one.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, coming in and out of these rollers, it is a chance to test the legs, both, for purposes of yourself, but also kind of evaluating what's going to happen early on in this race. Is there a chance that someone can go up the road? But I think more or less, I know that when I'm on this course from this perspective on the rollers, I do kind of always expect someone to test the legs here, especially as we come out of the right-hand bend here.
Yeah, it's what do you think of this course, Ian? I'm never that good on the New York course. Unless we're going up the QOM. I love that part, but I find the rolling parts of this course just so hard to sort of, well, you just can't switch off. You've got to see where the group is at all times. Make sure you're not falling off the back. Make sure you're not pushing too hard off the front when it's a downhill. I find it kind of a very mentally intensive course, anything around this New York sort of Central Park area. What are your thoughts? Do you like riding this one?
I would say I enjoy the New York courses on the ground. I feel the opposite. I don't know this direction as much because Astoria Line 8 is not a popular course. It's not something you would see a lot on this Zwift platform. Gotham Grind or, going in the opposite direction would be more common. It's not very common for them to come left here and then go right. The Storyline 8 is just a very unique course, but I do agree with you that the rollers do kind of prevent momentum from snowballing. It's not really, especially on the ground level, right? It's not really a place or a map where you're going to get away a majority of the time. The only time you're really ever going to get away on New York is when you go on the skyline, don't you think?
That, yeah, when you head up onto that glass road, I mean, that's kicking up to 8%. And then when you go up to the QOM, that's, 14 to 20%. So those are good areas for attack. I do remember we had a team race here, and this is where we launched a little attack. As we see Kasha there, just pushing up into those orange numbers. So just taking an attack. They're going up this 5% grade. So this is looking really good. Torelli here also pushing off the front. So these guys all used a bit of a push there when that road went up, but none of them have really stuck. And I think this is where this style of racing is super cool because it's only two teams. So it's 6 riders working together and another 6 riders working together. There's not sort of a rogue, random there who could just go up the front and get away. Everyone is going to be watching everybody, and they've obviously picked these teams based on this course. So it would be hard to see anyone getting away, I think, here.
Well, I think we should, hop into, one of the comms here in just a moment, but just to capitalize on what you said before we do so, before we hop over to Dutch Diesel, right as, we kicked it back to you there was that attack. And I do think that is one feature of Astoria line where people do attack, is right out of the corner, knowing it kicks up to 5 and 8%, just to see where everyone's at. Why don't we switch to Dutch Diesel before they start that next uphill and just kind of get a sense of what's going on? How's that sound?
Let's do it.
Zach, you rolling, Cassandra?
Yeah, it's because I'm heavier
it's
than
okay.
them.
It's okay. Just rest. Nice job.
Just roll with it.
Okay, we got ATP that's kind of rolling a little hard. Watch her. The main hill is coming up. See, they're super tucking. So take a second right now. Relax the legs. Take some
Breathe. All right, here we go. Come on now. Stay with them.
Now you got to roll forward if you're toward the back. Do not roll toward the back. There you go. Nice look. Nice job. Nice job.
Don't attack.
We're gonna get
just stay, Rush.
I know you're anxious.
Just only do what you have to do.
We're gonna hit a steep pitch pretty soon, so just make sure. And if you're feeling good, and if you got a little gap, go ahead and try to roll. Now here we go. Go, go, go. We got an ATP.
Up, up, up.
Stay with her.
Up, up,
we got
up.
2. Come on. We gotta go now. Up, 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 up.
Now look.
And don't forget, you got to stay in contact over the top. Over the top.
Go,
Nice
Sam.
job, girls. Good, 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 good. Come on. Nice job.
Come on, Anna.
Nice job, Sam.
Sam, just
Nice
cover
job,
it.
Sam. Good
Just
job.
cover it.
Keep rolling.
We see someone coming up the road and creating that separation. This is enough of a kicker where there is going to be that separation that occurs. And I think, this is a real danger area in this race. We didn't want to say, sometimes, it's better to be a little bit more hands-off and to not interrupt them, especially at such a crucial moment, to make sure that the riders hear the instructions. We see ATP off the front, but Dutch Diesel is closing it down, right? And then the rest of the pack that follows. Do you think at this point, with 2 seconds to close the gap, that these two will continue to ride off the front? Or do you think that this chase group will pull them back within, the next few kilometers as we come into the rollers? We've already talked about how disruptive they are.
Yeah, it's I think this is more of a sort of intimidation attack. In my mind, it looks as though mediocre Zwifter from ATP here has gotten just only about 4 seconds on the main pack, so they will definitely catch up. But if we look back a little bit, Boeto there from Dutch Diesel has been gapped off the back 15 seconds back already. And I always talk about that magic number being 15 seconds. If you drop off the pack by 15 seconds or you gain 15 seconds with a breakaway, more than likely going to be able to stay away. So looks like they have managed to jettison a Dutch rider. So they're down to only 5 now. So 5 versus 6. So good move there from ATP. Even if it meant they didn't stay away, they shed some riders.
I think this is a perfect time to just go ahead and hop in with ATP to see how they're reacting to that attack.
Everybody's hurting. That's fine.
Hey there, ATP.
Hey,
This is Ian checking in with you.
Hey,
what can you tell me in reaction to that first major attack?
They came out of the gun. They tested us. We were defensive, and then we went on the offense. So let them know we're serious. All right, we got to pay attention, my friend, because they're about to attack. You got to pay attention. There they go. Outside. I need you girls on those wheels. It's okay to ride the wheels, but if they jump, you need to have that jump. So stay close. We don't have to own it yet.
Attack to set us up for
Yeah,
this hill.
good call. Good call.
Recovery coming up the 4 miles.
We've got someone sitting on the back. We're going to watch her too. All right, looks like everybody's letting it soften. We're okay with that. Okay. Good job, ladies. Yeah.
Staying on the wheel.
All right.
Is
So
there anything you're looking for from a race perspective as you start to come out through these rollers?
yeah, so we're really serious about knowing where those hills are. We feel those are great places to turn the screws on versus a sprint attack. I'm sorry, I got to pay attention. So
You're good.
like here, we want to put the screws on. If we have it, this is where we drive the pace, 4%. Push it. Let's get their weaker girls off the bat.
Go, Ashley.
Well, we'll let you go. Thank you so much.
Reset. Let it.
Wow. Gotta love the intensity of the DS, right, Anna?
Oh, that was awesome. I just loved that. You know, she didn't want it. It was, don't distract me. Look at this. Oh, that was awesome. That is what you want to see in a DS. Super impressed by that. She was all over all the things the racers were doing. And just while we were talking, we saw Ashley Cameron take that attack off the front. So again, they're just forcing Dutch Diesel to really chase these down. They're definitely being the aggressor here. And yeah, I'm loving this style of racing. But Esfer there from Dutch Diesel went straight with Cameron, and they're now off the front only by a couple of seconds. But yeah, I like that. I like that aggressive style of racing.
I really appreciate how courteous she is, in response to the questions, but then also super focused on what's at hand and explaining, not only from her perspective of what was going on, but she always is, what's up the road? Hold on, I'll answer your question. I need to focus on this. And we see, she called it. I mean, she knew that an attack was coming. Her team is responding to her. And I think that's what is so nice about having that DS, is that you can just focus on holding the wheels. And when your DS tells you what to do, you can react immediately. You don't have to think. You're just listening to the soothing golden voice of your DS.
Yeah, the biggest thing I say to my team when I'm DSing is, my role there is to be calm and confident and just say short messages to keep things on track. But you don't want to be getting too excited and caught up in what's going on. You just want to keep it all sort of like low key, make sure everyone knows the specific instructions, like we heard her say, watch out for these attacks, but not sort of, screaming it shrilly down the mic and everyone freaking out a bit and heart rates going up. So I thought she was doing a great job there. So yeah, good job from ATP.
Most definitely, those bite-sized instructions, especially knowing that each time that gradient kicks up, that her riders know, even if it's something that's repeated, to continue to look out for. And here's just another opportunity here, Anna, for this race to see another attack off the front.
Yeah, this is heading into a little bit of a kick here, up to about 4 or 5%. Actually, no, up to around 8% on this one. And it's quite short, though, but we are seeing another attack from Cameron off the front. So I would assume that is Ashley's role today from ATP, is just every single little kicker. She's going for it, and she's pulling attacks from Torelli and Rush, which is not great, because looking at those power profiles at the beginning of the show, Rush and Torelli had the biggest watts per kg. If I was Dutch D's, I'll be saving those legs to the end, because they're going to need that sprint. They should not be chasing any of these down.
I do think in that same kind of way here that ATP knows that they have a numbers advantage, right? And so they can afford to continue to send Cameron off the front over and over and over again, knowing that if she does lose the group at some point or isn't able to respond to something, that they're still on even terms. But as you mentioned, she's getting the racers such as, Rush to respond, right? And by having them respond each time, it could take away from their sprint at the end of the race.
Yeah, exactly. And I do like the way ATP is playing this. It is very confident. Although what Dutch Diesel has in their back pocket is the fact that Rush has 11 watt per kg sprint, Sanders only 10.24 watt per kg. So Dutch Diesel, as long as they don't burn out the legs of Rush or Torelli, I think still have an advantage at the end if the group is together. But we are seeing a rider, another Dutch Diesel rider here, dropping off the back. That's Northway. So unfortunate to see that. Obviously, that was just a little bit too hard up that last climb. And Yeah, unfortunately, Sarah Northway there just dropping off now, 1 second back. So she's still probably able to get on. You can see her riding about 3.7 watts per kg, 4.5. She is sprinting to get back on. So there we go. She's managed to make contact, but that would have burned a few matches for sure.
Whenever, I see a 2-second gap, I always worry that little bit that I'm going to be the victim of someone accelerating, knowing that I'm dangling off the back, right? There's always that fear of 2 seconds is 2 seconds, but if someone accelerates, you might find yourself, on the wrong end of that 2 seconds rather than being able to battle back.
Yeah, and I think one thing to keep in mind with this race, this is a C category race. So sometimes looking at the watts per kg isn't the best measure actually of how hard people are going. It's actually their heart rate. And as we're looking here, Barron from ATP, 185 beats a minute. I feel like I'd be dying if my heart rate was that high. And even on my other screen, I've got Russia's stats open. She's at 192 beats a minute, riding around 105 RPM. So keeping a good cadence, but serious heart rates going on. And we see
Cameron
another
go again.
Yeah, again, Ashley Cameron. So how many times can she do this? Looks like all race long.
Well, I really liked what you said there about the watts per kilogram and remembering that this is a C category race. And so that's what I think makes Cameron going off the front and attacking like that even more impressive, because she just continues to do it, right? Unfortunately, sometimes with Zwift, we can't look at, we can't take splits each time she does it and say, okay, is she meeting a power target for like 15 seconds, right? Is she meeting or exceeding that 15 seconds? How repeatable is her effort based on what her power profile is?
It's like what Dutch Diesel is doing here. Every other time they've chased it down with Torelli or Rush, and I think they've realized actually we don't need to do that. Having one rider stringing off the front, they're usually going to get caught by the group, but they also could be getting nervous here with riders dropping off the back like we saw before with one of their riders coming off the back. So I think they're doing the right thing here. I think they've realized that's Ashley's role. She's going to attack off the front, and they don't need to keep chasing this down. I think they just can conserve some energy here. It would be unlikely for a breakaway to get away, I think, on this portion of the course.
I think this is a perfect time to jump into Dutch Diesel's voice chat here as we come into the end of the first lap to see how they feel tactically coming into this finish.
Sounds good.
Coming around to that finish line section, so just hang on to it. Don't push, just follow. Nice job.
You'll have a little downhill after this banner, so stay together.
Stay in contact. Nice job, girls.
Hey there, Dutch Diesel. This is Ian from No Breakaways. Just wanted to check in with you and see how you feel like the race is going so far.
Well, I'm sweating, and I'm not even riding. Having a heart attack.
They've been doing an excellent job following and shutting down attacks, just kind of keeping it all nice and intact. So they're doing a great job.
Any strategy here in the second lap that differs, you think, from the first, as far as knowing now that you see attack after attack? Is there anything you do tactically different here in the second lap?
Pray.
Well, I think that the following the crisply shutting down attacks can be pretty demoralizing to teams. If somebody attacks and you shut it down and you don't give them much room, especially when we have some decent sprinters. So I think it's kind of in their ATP's boat to put some pressure on them, but we just have to follow and shut down.
So you could say that you feel good about your chances if it comes to a sprint finish.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thank you so very much for your insight and for your feedback.
Problem.
I appreciate it. We'll check in again soon.
Okay.
Thank you.
What do you think about that, Anna?
Yeah, so it's sort of what we were talking about before. You know, I was saying they probably don't need to keep chasing those down, but I can see the reasonings they had for chasing them down was to sort of demoralize the chase a little bit. So no matter how much someone went off the front, you know what, we're going to get it and reel it back in. So I see why they were doing that now. So that was super insightful. I like that. And I think they're learning now as well, just to maybe not send their sprinters off. She exactly said what we thought. They've got the better sprinters. It's kind of up to ATP to put in these attacks. And ATP must know that. You know, it'll be interesting to hear their side of what they're looking at for the second lap. But yeah, I like the way Dutch Diesel is playing this. I'd kind of thought they didn't look as strong, but they know their strengths, and it's at the end.
I think that, you know, is a great time to then now switch into ATP and get what their thoughts are before we reach that 5 and 8% into the downhill, since we are on the rollers. What do you think?
Yeah, cool. Let's do it.
Ashley to take a dig. What do you think?
Take it back down for Ashley.
Hey there, ATP.
Hey.
Hey,
Not enough?
hey,
Okay.
second lap, looking good so far. Anything that you do different here in this second lap as opposed to the first?
As long as they're not listening, we're going to ride a little
connection.
more defensively this lap. We've got 6 on
Okay.
5, and they've got a badass team. And so we're for a little minute, we're going to ride a little defensively, sure that we keep our numbers. And then we'll assess as we get closer to the finish.
Is there at any point in the course where you think that there could be a dangerous move? I mean, we saw here on the first lap that hill coming back up into the main part of the course was something that was dangerous. Is that something that you foresee as being dangerous again?
Well, of course, it's dangerous.
Depends on, yeah, it depends on who's in what state, in any given state, and who starts the shenanigans. Watch, she's picking up the pace a little, and she's got 3 teammates together lined up. Watch them for an attack. I need you putting a little pressure, just in case. I see 3 together, and I'm worried. All right. Sorry, Ian.
No, it's good.
We're setting us up.
I think this is a dangerous course, but I have a spot where I want to be dangerous, so we'll leave it.
All right. I like that.
Okay.
Thanks for the tease there.
Okay.
It's pretty, last question here. It's pretty clear that you have the people marked at this point that you want to have marked. Would you agree?
Your top 8 riders matter to win this race. Yeah. It isn't the one sprinter or the one with the most fatigue resistance. Need 1, 2, 3 or 2, 3, 9, or you do the math. We care about them all.
Hey, well, thank you so much. I love the insight, love the feedback. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Thanks for checking in.
Playful banner is the best kind of banner.
Isn't it? That was cool. She's onto it though. She immediately saw where sort of 3 Dutch Diesel riders were going a bit off the front, and yeah, boom, picked it up straight away. So she's got her eye on the ball here. I see what they're saying about riding a bit more defensively. I'm not seeing those attacks coming off the front as much as they were before. They are heading into this bit of a climb now though, and we see Torelli here from Dutch Diesel just moving off the front a little bit. A few people dangling off the back, so they need to be careful. But yeah, that was great insight as well from ATP. Looks like they are a bit worried about that sprint, and they got something to play, but they're a bit coy about that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that 7 or 8% is so hard. Like, I can only imagine how Cameron's legs feel from the perspective that she's been on the offensive side so much in this race. I don't know how she is continuing to push so hard. I got to give a lot of credit to her because I feel like my legs would be really toast if I had attacked as many times as that.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe if she's not the sprinter for the end, then it's okay to sort of burn all those matches during the race. But we can see another attack here off the front, gained 5 seconds already here from the mediocre Zwifter from ATP. Definitely not mediocre. That name is not reflective of the rider at all. And looks like another, it's Ashley again from ATP. They're pulling into the super tuck. I just saw her putting in a little sprint, but I think it was to get momentum for the super tuck. ATP probably don't want to have any riders on the front now. They just want to tuck in behind Dutch Diesel, let Dutch Diesel do all the work to chase it back, because at this time, 3 seconds, they've got nothing to lose. I mean, imagine if mediocre Zwifter went through to the finish and won the match, right? So you've got to have Dutch Diesel chasing this down, which they're now doing with Rush. But again, don't put those sprinters on the front. Put some of your other riders on the front.
Yeah, even if you're super tucking, you want to try and protect that sprinter as much as you can. We do see dangling off the back here, but I think this is dangerous to be 1 second back coming into this hill.
Yeah, this is not good at all, and you can see she's pushing up to that 4 watts per kg. That's she's pulled in, so that's good. But again, just effort you don't want to have. I would be starting to get a little bit worried about the riders we haven't talked about at this stage of the race. With about 7 kilometers to go, it's the ones who are just sitting in the pack quietly, sort of just biding their time. They're always the ones to worry about. But we see another attack from Ashley Cameron here on this 8%. So maybe this is what the DS was talking about. Maybe this is their coy sort of little attack here, but it looks like it's getting chased down. Russia's very eager. I remember we went into their chat right at the beginning and they were telling Rush to calm down and not do anything. So I think she's just eager to chase everything down. They need to get that ATP rider off the front, though. She needs to just jump on Russia's wheel and let her do all the work to chase back on.
I think one rider to look at here that has been quiet would definitely be Pitts. Right? She's in second position. We haven't called her name. Barron haven't called her name. Kashikanya. I mean, ATP has had a lot of riders that we haven't called, right? They've just been able to sit in. They've allowed Cameron to be able to do a bulk share of the work. And right now, all the attention's on Cameron. Dutch Diesel has to respond to this. They know that, the first person, it's nice to have them scored as the number 1, but this is still a team scoring event here. Is this 6 seconds anything to worry about? You said 15 seconds as we come into the rollers. It's 6 seconds. They have pulled back 2.
Be too worried about 6 seconds. Again, Rush probably shouldn't be the one here chasing it down. They're going to pull in Ashley. What I've noticed with her attacks is she'll attack for sort of maybe like 20 seconds and then just roll back to the pace or a bit slower than what the pack's doing. So this is better from Dutch Diesel. Having Harden, ECAT there take the lead and pull this back in. They need to get those kind of riders there and just save those sprinters' legs. But Ashley, she tends to hold it for about 20 seconds and then back off. And I think Dutch Diesel may have clued on to that a little bit, and you don't see them chasing as hard now. They know they're going to catch her back up.
Yeah. I figured that, looking at this roster, I've done some detective work with a little help from a fact checker, a little friend, that mediocre Zwifter is Sanders. We can confirm.
The good sprinter. Great sprinter.
Mediocre Zwifter. We have now identified as Sanders. Right? It's like identifying the Batman. So
exactly.
Now we know. We know. I think another thing to point out is, Northway is another rider. I mean, there's so many unknowns in a head-to-head. And you had mentioned it earlier. This is such a compelling format because you talk about a couple of names here and there. And it's not that we're not trying to give face time to everyone, but the riders that are sitting in are the ones to pay attention to the most down the stretch, like you said.
For sure. And it's good to note as well that it's the top 3 across the line that gather those points, and it's lowest points. So 1 point for first, 2 points for second, 3 points for third. So, the teams really have to focus at its top 3. You don't need to get the 6th best place. So this is I would say, an almost perfect course to be trying to do a lead out train. And that's where you look, we saw the power profiles at the beginning. Some of those riders are really good at their 5 to 20 minute power. Make use of them, maybe start a 1 kilometer kind of lead out with those high sort of long duration power riders, get your sprinters tucked in behind, and then just deliver them to the finish line, like what we'd see with a Quick Step or a Jumbo Visma or something, in real life racing. It'd be great to see something like that happening in a race like this, because I think that would be key to get those top 3 across the line.
So Sanders is our Cavendish then, huh?
Yeah.
Good old throwback to Cavendish in the Quick Step days, now with Quick Step again. These rollers, you had mentioned them earlier being, very disruptive in the race and, sometimes hard to respond. This is another point where the last time we jumped in, I believe with Dutch Diesel, they mentioned, I think that they wanted to turn the screws, if I remember correctly. And we see 3 ATP riders pushing the pace.
I mean, I don't know if ATP's played their hand. We know they've got something up their sleeve. I don't know if they've done that yet. They don't have too long to do it. They've got a bit of a downhill coming up, but I feel like we're almost reaching that stage of the race. About just under 5 kilometers to go. it feels like that cagey kind of race now. It feels like they're all sort of staying together. They're all looking at one another. They're all trying to mark any attacks that are happening. So I don't think, although I'm always seem to be proven wrong, I don't see sort of the attacks on the little rollers like we're seeing in lap 1 happening now. I would be very, very wary of a long-range attack from ATP because Ashley has shown she can get a gap pretty quick. All she needs to do is take Sanders / mediocre Zwifter or Kasha with her, and then you've delivered some sprinters. So that's what I'd be looking out for in these last few kilometers.
Now I'm going to give you a little bit of a shout out with something that you did earlier this week. There are no power-ups in these head-to-heads. But we had talked about the ghost power-up, or you did a video that you had done on your own channel about the ghost power-up. Talk about a time where ghost power would actually be useful, right? I agree with you. The ghost power-up is very strange. If there were power-ups, I'd be like, ghost power-up here, possible. But since there's not, it's kind of raises that interesting question of how do you really get off of the front in one of these races and stay away? Exceedingly difficult, but I think you outlined the perfect plan for that. You've got to bring someone with you. You got to work together at some point.
Exactly. So there's almost no point now having a solo breakaway because the pack's moving fast. It's still a pack of, just under 12 riders. One has dropped off the back. So it's, I don't think that solo will often get away, but if you've got a teammate who's strong enough to get on your wheel, then yep, for sure. And if we had a ghost power up, like the analysis I did, I think the best way is have your strongest rider using the ghost and someone do a fake attack and everyone jumps on their wheel while the ghosted rider, disappears up the road. But we're going to see all riders here and they'll be able to play their cards in the visual way that everyone is going to see it. So yeah, what have we got? About 3.5 kilometers to go. And what do you think, Ian? I'm not seeing any attacks up this little climb coming up.
I'm going to, just for sake of being devil's advocate, I'm going to say one more attack from Cameron because it's been thoroughly entertaining to see her go again and again and again. And I feel like she's going one more time. Or if there you go. She's going to go one more time. I love it. Her tenacity.
You got it.
Tenacity. And Torelli is it. They know. This is just so much fun because you're just like, wow. And this is where we see the cat and mouse game start to begin, right? I think it would be wise down the stretch of this race to hop in with ATP for the finish because you talked about what's their card to play. We know that it's been Cameron over and over again, right? I know that Dutch Diesel might have that ace up the sleeve. I think we should briefly check in with Dutch Diesel and finish with ATP. Agree?
Perfect.
Disagree? Should we flop it? What do you think?
Yeah, I think do that, and then we'll have good eyes on the finish after that.
All right, let's do it.
And trying, but that was really good.
Dutch Diesel, we're coming into the closing stages of the race. Pins and needles, excitement everywhere. I don't do catchphrases, but this has been quite exciting. What are your thoughts here in the closing kilometers?
I'm glad I'm not in it.
Like I said, we've got some solid sprinters, so we're just trying to keep an eye on any attack the ATP is throwing and trying to, as I said before, shut it down as soon as they go. And the girls have been doing a great job doing it. They're probably more nervous, but they're and hurting, but they're doing an excellent job. These head-to-heads are fun.
Is there anything, coming into the closing sprint that you think is important for viewers to know as far as the tactical profile? I mean, it's not a flat
uphill.
finish. Do you think that plays a factor in the finish that you have?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Because you don't want to wait too long, right? Because
you want to build some speed, but not go too early.
Yeah.
So do you think it's advantageous? Go ahead. Sorry.
It's that weird one where if you go too early, you blow yourself out, but if you wait too long, then you can't roll people up. So
right.
It basically is one of those sprints where you prepare your brain that this is going to hurt, and you just got to go all the way through the line.
Girls, get ready.
And hang on. So,
well, hey, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Good luck to you in the finish. We'll see you then.
Thanks.
So this is another.
All right.
Okay. 3,
Not yet.
2,
through, jump! Jump, 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 jump! They're jumping too. They're jumping too. Just go. Just go. Don't worry about where they are. You've got to give it everything. You've got to give it everything. Come on. Come on, girls. Don't let it split up. We need our numbers. We need the numbers. Get up, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up. No, ATP, you have to push up now. You have to push up and go around them. You have to go around them. And we need the numbers. We need the numbers. Push around. Come on, pass down. Kasha, go. Get up. Get around. Get up to your teammate now, Kasha. Now, Kasha. Now, Diana. Get up to your teammate. Come on. This is when it matters. Get up, get up, get up. Pass them. Pass her. Pass her. Get up to your teammates. Come on. Get up to your teammate. Now pass them. Pass your teammates. Let them know you're not messing around.
Get up, post.
You're not messing around.
Post.
Keep it going. I want you to battle this thing. Go.
Ladies.
Go. All the way now. All the way. If you don't go all the way, if you don't go all the way, you're not racing. Come on. You have the numbers. You are awesome. Now this is it.
Here it is.
Out of the saddle. Get up. Get up. I need you standing. I need you running. Get up. Get up. Shift to heavier gear. Run. 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 Run.
Stay on the
Pass
back.
them. Pass them.
Run. Stay on the
Come on,
back.
you got it. You got it. And it's awful. It's a fight race. And it's awful. There's the finish.
Hard.
Watch out.
Feel hard. Hard as you ever gone.
We need 1, 2, 3, 4.
Lord.
Come on.
Go.
Do not quit. Get up around them. Get up, get up, get up, get up, get up. Oh, you are awesome. You are awesome. Yes. Well done. You gave it everything for so long. I'm so proud of you. Oh, good girls. I don't care what the numbers are. You guys, you are amazing. Oh, my God.
My, oh my. That was an animated finish, to say the least, Anna.
That was intense. That was, I said DSs are usually quite calm. That was full noise. That was amazing. And unfortunately, Dutch Diesel there, we're listening in at ATP at the end there. Dutch Diesel looked like they took 1, 2, 3, like we thought that could have been. They had the sprint leads. They didn't need to do any attacks all day long. So they just sat in and, yeah, wow. That was, my heart rate's gone up. That was full on.
Yeah, my heart rate definitely went up too. But at the same time, didn't you want to be in that race with the amount of energy coming from the DS down the stretch? How empowering.
That was cool. I like what she was saying, run on the pedals, because it's so true. When you get up out of the saddle, you're trying to sort of go the fastest cadence you can, lay down those power numbers. And it is kind of like you're running on the pedals. I liked that. That was a good little catchphrase she had there to get the most out of her riders.
Yeah, I
think that
for the interviews.
That finish is just so tricky, that run up. Anything to briefly wrap it up before we jump back in with the teams?
That was, I love this format. This is wicked. That was really cool to watch. It was nerve-wracking from start to finish, but super exciting as well. I'm excited to hear what the riders have to say.
All right, let's hop in with Dutch Diesel first, and then we will go into ATP, and then come back for just some finish.
Now that you're done.
Man. I think I burned like 1,000 calories.
Living.
Hey, fantastic, huh?
What an absolute amazing finish. I don't even really have words. How about you put it into words for me? What a finish.
It was amazing.
Well, that's kind of, when you looked at the numbers, that's what we had. We had some really solid 1 and 15 second power girls, and so it was protect them, force ATP to try to put any pressure on them, and then when they let loose, they let loose.
Whew.
They were fighting.
That was
each
a good
other
race.
for win.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, baby girl.
Hi.
That was a great race.
Now, I was sucked into the moment. Who came across the line first for Dutch Diesel?
That's what we're trying to figure out.
I don't know.
hard to tell. Then I see orange numbers flying everywhere. What did you think, racers coming into the finish? What was your timing like as far as this is when I know I need to launch?
Well, partially, we'll have to admit we have some husbands that have done these races a lot.
Yeah,
So
I think that's what was happening. The husbands were going, go, 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 go.
His husbands were like, tell him to go now.
Yeah, I think the husbands told them to go.
And I think that's an extra power up. There are no power ups in head to heads.
Yeah.
But having someone who has that race experience next to you, in addition to the DS, definitely helps.
That's right.
What are some of your finishing thoughts on this race?
I think it's excellent.
Earlier, too late. They nailed it, but we did have a little bit of help from husbands that know it.
What a fun matchup! I'd like to see that again.
I think the Astoria line is definitely a course that provides a lot of action. I always appreciate this team being here, supporting this format, and continuing to bring racers. Thank you so very much.
It was fantastic.
Really fun.
Yeah.
I miss
Let's do it again.
Yeah, I was going to say, we hope to host you again soon. And good luck to you if you are racing on Tuesday.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Great job, ladies. And thanks so much for putting this on.
Yeah, you're welcome. All the credit is to you, ladies. A fantastic race. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have to say, that was one of the most animated finishes, but motivational speeches and empowerment that I have ever seen. Goosebumps, raised heart rate, adrenaline, the feeling that I want to get on the bike and I want to go right now with the kind of energy I'm feeling. Talk me through that finish.
Okay, so I guess I will. They're still breathing. So we knew that there were some really powerful women, awesome, amazing women, and we knew they had a couple of them, and we didn't want it to come down to being so defensive, take a risk, and to soften their sprint. So we decided we were going to full bore attack as a team right after the sprint line. And once it went downhill, we counted 3, 2, 1, and we went. We never let go. It was team time trial, go. So what we hoped to do was make it harder for them to just totally sprint around us. And then, of course, we had to hang on and they had to hang on. And what it took to stay in it, these girls, all of them, both teams, amazing.
I have to say that I'm always... What was that?
Sorry, I just FTP increase on that, no doubt.
FTP increase. You got an FTP increase.
Love it. Yeah. Love the FTP increase. Congratulations. I'm every time there are these head-to-heads, and I always feel so fortunate to be able to commentate on these impressive ladies. Congrats on the power numbers, the new FTPs. This is always for you, and we're so thankful that you participate in this format.
I gotta say, we are thankful. This is the most exciting.
Cycling is great for everyone.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you for doing it.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah. You're welcome. We hope to see you again soon. Any closing thoughts, tactically, things that, looking now at the finish that, you think that on the next race or another course that you feel like, maybe if you were to do a rematch, do you have a course that you would want to race them on? Not that we're trying to tease fight number 2, but I gotta apply some screws myself.
That particular
Richmond.
Oh, I mean, which Richmond? The Fan Flash Libby Hill after party?
Oh no.
UCI
Richmond. No, just UCI Richmond.
Yeah, Richmond, do my hometown. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Richmond, next Tuesday, I wish all of you luck if you are racing Richmond. We would love to have you back for that Richmond course, something that we can talk about in the future weeks. But again, ladies, all the credit is to you. Thank you for making this race entertaining. for giving it everything you've got. We really appreciate it here at No Breakaways.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for
We
this.
will see you again soon.
All right.
Positivity aplenty and gratitude everywhere. Anna, what are some of your closing thoughts as we end our broadcast today?
That's what we heard right at the end of that interview with ATP, which was how much this is doing for women's cycling. And I think just to touch on that, it's awesome. Like, you know, in real life, there's definitely not the same sort of coverage. There's definitely not the same sort of prize money. And Zwift has totally opened up a new world for that. So I loved that comment at the end. I thought it was awesome. You saw, you know, 12 extremely talented, hardworking, great racing women out there. And that was one of the better races I've seen. I loved it. I loved the two totally different strategies. One, they knew they had sprinters. One, they knew they had better sort of breakaway opportunities. And it was just seeing the two of those strategies mold together. And yeah, awesome. That was fantastic. I love it.
I think no matter what category you cover, there are storylines and racers who deserve the coverage, that want the coverage. And like you said, to empower women's cycling and to provide that platform for racers is, I think, incredibly important. If you want to race, if you're watching this broadcast now, go ahead and click subscribe and like, please, and thank you. And reach out to us if you'd like to participate with you and your team in a head-to-head matchup. It is something that we at No Breakaways want to champion, especially women's racing. So if you are a women's team, please reach out to us. The same thing can be said for men's team. Please reach out. We would love to have you. Like I said, compelling storylines. These races always provide something special. I want to thank you, Anna, for joining me today. And for all the team here at No Breakaways, thank you so very much.
Awesome. And my teams are racing in March, and it's going to be a crazy head-to-head. This has just made me super excited for it. So yeah, thanks, Ian. Thanks, No Breakaways. Just been a great experience. And yeah, awesome. Good work you guys are doing.
Thank you, everyone. That concludes our broadcast here with No Breakaway, your home for Zwift racing tips and tricks. Go ahead and subscribe and click the like button. We'd sure appreciate it. We will see you next time. Over and out.